Good morning. Second here. All right, so Bitcoin's on its way to 100,000. We've been talking about that possibility. It's not that far away. Maybe it gets there or by tomorrow. It had a little resting period, so odds are it will. I mean, look at this straight up move. After that, who knows? Maybe it gets beyond it the way it's going, but you never know. We haven't gotten any reversal bar. That reversal bar right there didn't follow through at all. So we'll see if the next one does. Uh, Historic, moving up there, 100,000. Some people think it's going to 30,000. Who knows? Government, well, the new government seems to be behind it. So we'll see what happens. All right. It doesn't matter where we start. Transports, pulling back to where buyers should show up. And we started this week looking at areas or indices that were made strong moves. Right? Some of them look a little different in how it happened, strong moves. Some have this kind of square top, which is not ideal or desirable, yet usually if you can get a 3-bar turn or so and some downside shakeouts, you could get through it. May just stall there. I wouldn't bet against it, that's for sure. The Dow yesterday, bottoming tail bar. Yesterday, they bought the dip. Clearly means people think it's going to go up, right? Yes, yesterday's theme was buy the dip. And as long the dip got deep, we'll look at the S&Ps and the Qs, they got deep. This was relatively deep, but the buyers stepped up and pushed it up and it closed strong, and that suggests it's going to go higher. I don't know where this is. Maybe this doesn't update, of course. So if we look at the diamonds, 1 second. We look at the diamonds there, you could see the deep move that they bought the dip. And where's it at? So here's part of the problem as we look at what's happening today. This isn't up as much, but you'll see when I get to the spiders, they're into this gap fill. And that raises the question, can they really get any further? And we don't know. So we look at, the intraday charts right now, the way the spiders are moving up, I can see on my other screen, it hasn't lost any momentum yet. Actually, it picked up momentum from the 8 o'clock hour, what I'll show you. So looks good, pull back, didn't fill down here. This now becomes a significant support area. Just look at these here. NDX, that was deep and it came all the way back. Now, that seemed like unlikely during the day, but when it didn't go down, it went up. I was like, okay, Greg, that's pretty amazing thought. It didn't go down, so it went up. But that's the truth. That's, traders looking at what's going on. They were, semi bullish here. They were like screaming bullish here. That's why yesterday was buy the dip. And now, as it's down here, and then this was below the low, it was like, okay, that's not working out too well with that bias. And then in the latter part of the day, where it appeared it was going to roll back over to hit the lows, it kind of started to creep. And you got this little, it happens the same way all the time. It's the same but different, as I like to say, meaning you always have a momentum move and then a shallow retracement. Sometimes you get a bottoming tail bar like that. This has pivot highs, some congestion over there to the left, where some push up and move, above into the void, but you get a momentum move just like that. It's always the same. May not be the same number of bars. Don't take it literally, but it's a strong move and it hooks. Get that bottoming tail bar. they typically go up. So looking at the way things were yesterday, it's like, okay, I get all that with that momentum move and hook pattern, but this thing looked like it was going to dive into the void yesterday. Could it really do that after that? I would say, well, I don't know if it can do it every time, but I know that what that pattern means. And at that point, it's like, do you want to press the button or not? That's what it comes down to. Do you want to give it a shot with a calculated risk? Yes or no? Your choice. You know, and it rallied back up. So at this point, being up where it is, we have to look at the cues to see if it's gapping up, and I'm going to do that, of course, to see where they're at. And they're almost into the gap. You can see where my cursor is, clearing those highs. So now, what do we think? Buy the dip into a gap fill, or is it buyers so anxious after this back and fill here that they just keep buying and run it up in here? I don't know. If we get another pattern intraday or pre-market, that's your choice. Press the button, or on the futures. See if it runs up into this resistance, and then we'll see how it deals with it. Spiders. I have to scroll back over here, but you see the similar pattern there. And down here is where we got the, at the low in the morning was the tick extreme, and then things began to stabilize. And over here, it got close to minus 1,000. And so at this point, look, when you get, let me a few things here. You got that pivot. The ticks go down to minus 1,000, give or take. It looks like it probably hit. Maybe it didn't quite hit minus 1,000. Anyway, it got down there. And this doesn't go down here. It's like, So with all of those negative ticks, the markets, this didn't fall that much. And then, it goes lower. The ticks are going higher, your classic tick divergence there. And then, the momentum move and the hook. So now, gapping up into the gap. And looks like a place where people would sell, right? There's no loss of momentum here yet. So we'll see what happens. But it's gapping up into a resistance area. Clearly not the place to be getting on board. If it went sideways there for 10 minutes or something, maybe we could go for that. SPX. All right, it's up here. Would it go back down here today? Well, are there any? There's numbers coming out at 10 o'clock. I don't think they're all that meaningful. Existing home sales, the jobless claims are out, markets went up, and there's an auction at 12 o'clock. Keep that in mind. And tomorrow, there's some other numbers we'll deal with tomorrow. So 10 o'clock, home sales, where they might happen, maybe it affects the home builders and those stocks, we'll see. 12 o'clock, the auction. Sometimes they move the markets. All right, so I put two strikes here, a little bit more aggressive for 90, 59.95, and 6,000. That would be, if it got up there, should be a wall. The prior high up there, it's a whole number. You should see the charts. Let's see. Yeah, they're up. You might have to refresh or maybe click a different tab, Azar. I'm not sure why. Hold on a second here. I just want to capture this. So clearly yesterday's low is a huge reference point of support now that there's 4 days down there. Just waiting for my little capture tool to pop up here. got that. Um, Again, so into the gap fill there. There's going to be some sellers, I imagine. This should become support. All right, hold on. What was resistance becomes support. If it comes down there should be buyers down here. And so these are thoughts, and then we see how it comes down. If it was to fall like this, straight down, obviously something seems wrong. If it kind of floats its way down and by 10:30 it's, hanging down there and we get some kind of a bottoming tail pattern, well, then we'd go with that. So, again, that opening up at a place where some sellers should be there. Right? I put strike down here. You got plenty of support. I doubt either one gets hit. Right? Dow futures. So this is going up slow. Beautiful little pullback pattern. A little bit of a muted response. It's up at these pivots here. Everything's going up. It should go up. This one I don't really like. I don't like, not that it isn't going up. You see how it's moving up here and it's got room to go up. What I don't like about this is the way it's going up there, kind of like a flag. They're buying the dip. It's going up. We'll see what the semiconductors do today. Maybe it can accelerate higher. But this is it is a pattern where it comes down so hard, it kind of grinds its way higher to some point and then rolls back over again. We'll have to see. There's no evidence of that yet. I'm just pointing out, the way it's going higher is not all that positive, but we know that, semiconductors have been underperforming. Software has outperformed, and we'll see how NVIDIA performs today. So the numbers came out. They were good. There's lots of talk about competition now. And can they keep doing it? And so it's not like it's ripping, but we'll have to see how that performs. Similarly, the S&Ps are moving up in that way. All right, the Russell. This is the one I think really has to, if this market is going to be bullish or whether this is just kind of like a little move up here, things came down, got a little extreme, hit some support. Can they really get back up here? Well, anything's possible, but usually when things come down so hard like that, they don't. Usually they move up a little bit, and then if you can get a retest and reversal pattern, that's where you really get the strong move. So, maybe that's in the cards where things reverse. I would love that to happen, because this would top out and come back down again and retest this, and going into the Thanksgiving Day holiday, which historically is positive, we could have a really nice rally. So, that's a thought. It's not a fact yet, but we'll see what plays out. Gold, it's made its move. Last week we talked about it turning in this area, but possibly turning. It's coming up into the resistance. This is where it's likely to stall, somewhere in here. Oil's been holding up. We talked about this head and shoulders pattern. It's still, look at the monthly chart, it's still in the lower half of this little move down. This is where it might roll over again. The oil stocks have been holding up relatively well. The ETFs, especially this one, has been more of a grinder, right? No real momentum. It's kind of just grinding its way up there. Nevertheless, it's going up. They're buying the dip, and it's going up. One of the themes today was the dollar pulling back and basically stalled. It's not pulling back. It's stalled, but the market wants to go up. And if this breaks out and interest rates break out, so you want to have alarms whereas this here, pretty much unchanged. So they're just marking time, you know, it's like they're just kind of playing ball together. No one's attacking yet. So, and no one's given up, so to speak. The market's having its bounce. You want to have an alert to see if this starts moving higher. Right now, it's doing nothing, or if it's moving lower. And the same thing with the dollar. You don't have to stare at them, but you certainly want to know if they start breaking out or breaking down. Uh, the euro is down here. Let's look at the monthly chart. It's on some support, but if this starts to break lower, boy, that is going to be a big deal. So have an alert. There's Euro ETFs. I don't remember the symbols for them, but if you don't have the futures, you can certainly look that up. Now, if the dollar starts to dip and you trade these, this might be a little W bottom. If it flips back up here, that's something you're going to want to think about, as a long trade. So keep an eye on that. I don't know if the pound looks any better. And kind of the same. Well, that monthly's in an uptrend. It came down like really nasty, but that creates a void. So just like gold got extended on the short, so on the downside, so does this, and maybe it flips up, just not ready yet. Um, yeah, Dan, I'm going to hand it over to you. And just looking where the semiconductors are here. All right, so they're gapping up here. So semiconductor stocks, we get a little relief rally. SOXL, if you want to trade that, leveraged semis, maybe come up into the gap fill there. So things look up until something changes. All yours, Dan.
Morning. So yeah, the last 45 minutes yesterday, thing just started ripping, and I was saying, unless they get caught flat-footed, that was very bullish for a continued move higher, whether it's expectations of good news of Nvidia or whatever. And then pre-market, there's no numbers. Nvidia was neutral, negative a little bit. And then this is just a continuation of yesterday. Look at that. That hasn't traded under prior market low yet. But this is now, it's an end of day rally, which continued pre-market until right now. So yeah, it's by the pullback. We gave IWM yesterday, and the levered one. I like this one the best. So actually, we got to wait. I gave this as a directional also to ETF. So hold on. So I'll watch that on a pullback. Raul. Hey, Raul, buddy, you're he's asking about Jim. Yeah, you're behind. We did a half lot yesterday, and you can add a half lot today, but yeah, we're already in them. There were so many nice buy setups. Here, let me look at alarms. Look, here's one, not this, mid-seam. Look at this. Remember, I think I showed you this also yesterday, Raul. So we entered this on a pullback into the gap. Let's see, this is a V top. This is fluid bars down and a 3-bar reversal on support in the 20 MA. And so I just sent an alert to sell some pre-market here at third. Move stop 30-minute low. Yeah, there are buy setups all over the place. So we're in that. I'm just going through alarms right now, and then I'll look at earnings. A microchip. Shockingly, this doesn't have weekly options, but it's a climb up with a 4-bar turn. So I think it can bounce to 68 or so. XBI alarm. This another Climo. We shorted a put spread on. Looks great. ABBV. Was a Climo that we bought yesterday. Up alarm went off. PPL, I think. Yeah, that's an old alarm. So we're in trail mode. Nope, that's the wrong symbol. PPL. So yeah, we bought this 180 breakout. And look at that. This easy management. You have higher high, higher low bars. You just trail prior bars low and let the stock tell you when it's done moving up. Now, if the broader markets accelerate and you're like, oh, I think we're near a top, then you can drop down to a smaller time frame to tighten it if you want. Earnings here, Nvidia, obviously the big daddy. So like I said, it was up last night, then it was down pre-market, now it's up, but it's gapping the resistance, but there's no pattern with that wall of resistance. The put spread, if there's any juice tomorrow, and I said that in the green room too, that if as long as we open flat to up in the broader markets, we should have put spread galore patterns for tomorrow. Provided tight spreads and we get the credit. So I posted a couple ideas already. Mr. here with Bitcoin was over 98,000 pre-market. So look, this is already a climb. And so now you're gapping up $60. Now the pre-market, this is holding extremely bullish. But I don't know what it's going to do in the first 30 minutes. That's why I have it in this middle chart here to watch it. No, this is not what we call a gap and crap pattern per se. So that's why I just called it excessive gap. Same story. Let's see what it does in the first 30 minutes. I would never do a 8 DTE call spread, but 1 DTE with a gap that friggin' big. It's on my watch list. Hey, Bill. Pan W, 382, bearish gap. But it's it's in a good sector and all. Just there's nothing to do now. 408, that's a gap breakout. You can watch a pullback. Guild, like I said, an alarm go off. I posted that last night, I think. It's not a Climo because it's close to the 20. It's a buy setup with a deeper tracement. But so I gave that as long calls for swing trade. Second, no pattern. Jack, gap in here, but no pattern. Maybe call spread if there's anything 1DT. MMS. That's an ugly gap. Let's see if buyers step up. It's down a lot from these prior highs. UTI, 22 bucks. Gap's too big. CPA. Ugly gap, call spread. KLC, recent IPO, gapping up a little. That ain't bad, 30-minute high. Well, keep an eye on that. KLC, I don't even know what they do. 105. See, that's just a gap in the middle of no man's land. Man, it's Chinese. So I have zero bias on that. Deer. I think Sammy Boy was talking about a short straddle on this into earnings, so it would have paid off nicely. Because I think he was looking at the 380s and 430s. I mean, really far away. Baidu 83, no pattern. Oh, and there's some talk about some of those Chinese companies consolidating under the parent name. I don't know. All right, this one I said yesterday, sell setup. I said if it opens flattened down a little. So there you go. That's a 10-minute low. Um, short setup. I think that's Chinese also or some foreign country. And the only reason I say that is that could be the difference between just a day trade or a swing. Raul asking about playa. Raul, you want to go to the beach? Is that what you're telling me? I'm sure. I mean, it's showing relative weakness, the fact that it didn't bounce with the market. But let's just set an alarm at 9:52 and not worry about it for now. It's a slow mover. Done. WMG. Bearish gap down, call spread if there's anything. Bravo Juliet. Bullish gap, but I don't like that pattern. They they had earnings, plus they raised their rates, their membership rates. Now, this is kind of a 1, 2, 3. I see it gapping up a little. We'll come back. All right, this one I posted as a possible gap and snap. This thing's fallen all these fluid bars for 2 solid weeks. Now you're gapping down $8. So that's like you got to call it a candidate because you have no idea if it's going to reverse. So Mr. is a gap and crap candidate. This is a gap and snap candidate. I have it in the bottom right here. Shoe Carnival. It's a Climo. You know, you got fluid bars down, bottoming tail gapping up. That put spread and or day trade long 30-minute high. This would have been a great 550 put spread if there was such a strike and juice. We'll come back to it. Bison, that's a dog. There's our Mr. Oh, no, never. Oh, wait, are these earnings? Or it was Mr. Earnings causing that gap? Or was this just a gap up with the excitement of Bitcoin? All right, Target. Yeah, so okay, so these are not, these are leftovers. All right. All right, the LFK is a put spread idea. It's a pseudo 1, 2, 3. Alpha Lima. Alarm went off. I I posted this as a put spread. I'm sorry, as a directional. Little 1, 2, 3 buy setup. See, V top coming in a fluid manner. Raul, your playa alarm just went off already. I don't know if this tail is real or not, but you know, it'd be more of a 30-minute high, I think. Yeah, Greg, I had posted a cream put spread, but Greg bought that on a pullback yesterday. Another buy setup. Yeah, we're not going to get filled, obviously. Khaki traded. I posted that as a Climo. I posted some last night, some this morning. 455.01. And you remember I said when I saw these things breaking down, there's 3 of them I was watching in the military consulting area. And I said, I'm going to watch them until they give us a setup, whether it takes 3 days or 3 weeks. So that triggered, that's a clean Climo. Fluid bars down. You know, you got a 2-bar turn. It's at the 200. You know, I can't tell if there's support over there without blowing up the chart. I can look at the weekly. Yeah, look at that. Look, it bounced right off this pivot. So that's a great spot. Ba is another one I'm watching. That looks great now. I would love a 1, 2, 3. I don't like the end of day rally, but that's another Climo. And then what was the third one I was watching? LDOS. This is all three of these would be great put spreads also, but there's no weeklies. I mean, this was a beaut. Actually, let me check monthlies on this thing. But the second problem is they're not liquid. Look at Mister already falling, middle chart, and my Acker bouncing. See here, you all. It's only 2 minutes into the market. Nike trail stopping out. We've been short that for a couple days. I'll get around to these in a few minutes. So Mister, I wouldn't do it now after 2 minutes, but I like the fact that sellers already stepped up. Next analysis is how far away can I get for tomorrow? I would love to get $30 higher at least. Man, Greg, you got to go look at these call premiums. Wowzer.
How far away?
Oh my gosh. You did $2 for the 760s for
Expiring
tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yes.
It's crazy, scary. But I mean, the thing's vertical. Logic says it can't go that much higher. And it says, "Oh, really? Watch this."
Well, that's why we're going to wait for a 30-minute low. But this was step one, seeing how juicy it was. So now I'm excited. Now let's pick our points. That is insane. It's like there's earnings in there. All right, look at the bottom right. Acker, that was my other favorite snapper. Sam, you know what I mean with snapper, right? All right, so I'm not going to rush into it. Let's look at Acker now. Yeah, it's not great, but let me look at the premium for tomorrow. I would do the 75s would be a no-brainer. There's no weeklies and they're too spready, so it vetoes that. The 70s, though, Greg, just to show you these crazy numbers, 95 by 150. $10 lower, but the problem is 30 DTE. That's the problem. And the spreads. All right, so Mister, maybe 30-minute low. All right, Nike, trail stopped out. I'll post it in a few minutes. eBay. All right, eBay gapped over our stop, but now we're back into profitable territory. This thing expires tomorrow. I think we should kill this break even. It's just been a big waste of money. Actually, we got a small profit right now. That's because we got $1.47 in the money, and then whatever extrinsic value there is for tomorrow. Uh, so yeah, let's do that. I mean, today could
See
be the
Google cracking here. All this talk about making them sell Chrome.
yeah. That was on my list. I just didn't get to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, market coming in hard, so short-term exhaustion. This thing's been tough to manage, went against us. Now we have a little profit, so I'm just gonna be done with it. Yep. Actually, you can try try 195 plus on that. Wow, coming in very hard. They slice through, the gap fill. Well, it's a little different scenario done. Yesterday, I think, was that war rattling. This, I think, is profit taking, or if there's anything else brewing, I don't know. But yeah, that's I would never, after 9 minutes, have predicted this. Had you asked me pre-market, I would have said more of a controlled retracement. I know, I'm just observing back. All right, Mister, let me now see. With the cues falling like they are, I feel better about doing this early. Like seriously, what would make this go to 770 by tomorrow? Not saying it can't, but I just think that's nuts. All right, they've already sucked them out. So the problem is trying to get the 800s are now $1, but that's naked. And it's going to eat a lot of margin, but the problem is getting a midpoint credit. But I love the pattern. Love it. Love the pattern. Usually my default is waiting 30 minutes, but I would have done it now had I got a nice credits. I apply, I'll set a new alarm. All right, so now we got a little green bar on support, so we just got to see how far it bounces now. Yeah, Berkshire's still dead money here. I have no alarms going off, but I was hoping it would have been up. My PR up alarm. We have a put spread in this. I sold my SLX yesterday, but I see how that gapped up. Actually, I still sold it. I sold it yesterday's high. but I still was watching it for a little pullback. See, we got very little to no bounce there on the 5 minute. It's now a topping tail, even though the bars went down. So that was heavy selling. A D line gap to 1,000, then it's just sold off. Surprised the VIX didn't. Well, I guess it did move over $1. All right, the snow. Say this one, I said is not a gap and crap, but it's more just Phil, just as everyone's different, but just kind of as a vanilla rule, it's like 30%. 30% of the fluid moved down. But if you see, if you hey, Pan W, I said Wall Street loved it. I was watching it. This thing just blasted through the gap, the bear gap. But Phil, if you like see overlapping bars or something, and then many times I'll say, I don't know, it's fluid move. I don't know how far it's going to go. All right, this M chip. Let's hold off with the market coming in. But yeah, if you want to go through a couple of examples, would be better. But wow, look at that Pan W ripped. A L. That's pullback. So that's a 48.31. Yeah, perfect. Wait, 48.31. That's not my style. Gap and goes. That you got that topping tail over there. Market weak. Yeah, not me. All right, IWM I gave as a limit. I wonder if it got filled on that. I don't know. And Guild, did it gap over 89.08? No, it didn't. So Guild is still good to go. It's posted over 89 over yesterday's high. Bounced a little, but doing nothing. IWM holding well. I did the IWR yesterday that Alex introduced me to. And that's holding very well. Yeah, of course it is, Phil. I posted it as a Climo, but I don't like the gap up and slopping around. I gave it over these highs. Target 68. Right, Mitzi price. Okay, so that's moving nicely. 129. Mitzi. Next 132.75. Phil, so I gave khaki also as a Climo, which triggered this morning cleanly. See, that's clean. I don't know where the target is on this, but I would say first target 480. Let's see. You know what? Let's try to get a bigger target. It looks great.
I'm answering Frenchie and social media. This MDB, Frenchie, I don't know if you can see my charts, what it shows or shows Dan's, but it had a pretty sizable gap up and it's up at resistance here. I would keep an eye on it and see if it can consolidate a little bit. If it holds on to the gain, it should go higher.
Yeah, let's try to
And the
get.
thing is, if you buy it now, where are you going to put a stop? Under the day's low? You could, the 5 minute, there's no pattern, you know, the market comes in that could break the low, comes in, buy. You don't have any kind of correction bar, and you don't have any kind of a base, any kind of a pullback. So, or you know what, if you wanted to buy it and put a giant stop, just to keep an eye on it, maybe putting the stop in between the middle of the gap fill and just, wherever that is, if that means you're going to buy 5 shares, whatever it is, you know, that's okay. It's a plan. It would just be stupid to go all in. Software is a good place to focus. 8MA stop. I don't know. That's nothing for me. But if you share size it accordingly to that moving average, which is going to move, if you keep raising your stop as it goes up, things are just messy right here. AI had that monster day a couple of days ago, and yesterday it rested. It gapped up today. Maybe, if it takes, if it pulls back toward the open, SMH went and filled the gap and got clobbered on the head. So it's going to take a little time to things to find their spot as to creating some support here.
Hey, we were in hope mode on STT. Looks better now that it cut over these 2 bar highs.
It's interesting. On social media, on YouTube or X, when I start showing my charts, it takes yours away, Dan. I would have no idea if there's any kind of a setting for that. There's no way of looking at one versus the other, but that's not a breakout. I think an easier way to think about a breakout, whether people have different definitions for breakout, right? Like in this flex, it's retraced more than 100%, right? Mostly on a gap up. But if you're going to say, is something a tradable breakout, think about, where would I have to put my stop? Is there a base? On a daily chart, there's no base. Where would I intelligently put my stop? Well, if you share sized it and said you put it under yesterday's low, that would be somewhat smart. At least you'd have something to go on. But how strong is that support? Well, how strong is any support in reality? But the idea is, if you bought a base out of a consolidation, like if you look at Flex, that's not that much of a tight base, but and then of course it gapped up. The ideal scenario is to come out of a consolidation like here, where it's relatively tight, and here it's breaking out, and you could put a stop below this pivot. That makes sense. So, it breaks out if it starts coming in. There should be buyers on the minor support. Whereas you're calling this a breakout, and it's really what we call a greater than 100% retracement. But so the 65-minute isn't any kind of a base either. It's a pullback. So you use the word breakout on daily. So now when you go into the 65-minute, now it's something else. But if you said, hey, it's in an uptrend, and yesterday it formed an end of day base and it's breaking out from there, now we could agree on the breakout. And so if you got in it on the breakout, great, because your support now is down here. That makes sense. So you don't need the daily to be totally aligned, meaning breakout, breakout, but you have strength intraday. It builds a consolidation where it can move up from, and now you could manage it intelligently, from a smaller time frame.
Yeah, Mr. Tankin, I love the pattern. I just couldn't get a good credit. He would have had to gone naked. But I gave the idea in Telegram if they wanted to do it on their own. And it was 110 when I first looked at it, and I didn't get filled, and that's why I tried 105. And now I'm at $1. Yeah, I'm not filled. It was 110 when I typed it out. Oh, our wolf stopped. What the heck? All right, at least we had an open profit. Actually, it stopped at 681. So it did not stop yet. The midpoint is 5 cents, so that's fine. But those are crazy reversals. This and riots. Yeah, Wigman was up big. Look at it now. Yep, whole sector. sometimes when everybody is in unison of course, Bitcoin is going to 100,000, the big boys will paint you a different picture. So that might be playing out here, at least in the short term. I don't like this pattern. I would do a put spread, but there's no juice. I mean, there's nothing here to me to suggest it's gonna move. There's not a 3 bar, it's not, there's nothing of a something something bar. And it's been showing relative weakness. And Target finally finding some buyers here. We still got that condor that I haven't done anything with. Yeah, look at Mr. Total. Yeah, that was a fantastic gap and crap regal. I just couldn't get the midpoint. But you know, even if not, it's another trade in your memory bank. I went through the steps. I wanted to do it. It was tier one. I was even going to do it at 940, not even waiting because the market was weak. It was on my side. And like I said, spreads were the problem. Well, not the spreads per se, but the trying to get a midpoint.
There's a leveraged ETF to trade that.
And see, remember, Acker was my gap and snapper trade, and that worked too. The reason I didn't give that was um, um there's no weeklies. What is it, Greg? I'm sure it's gonna have the same problem, but I'll look. What if it's an ETF? Does it even have options? Is another question. Biddy's inverse, really? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. So does it have options and does it have weeklies? Nope, there's no weeklies. And the spreads are doable. Yeah, the spreads are fine, but the problem is no weeklies. But yeah, I wish they had weeklies, but I'll add it to my repertoire. Bitcoin. Fly alarm went off from Raul. But wouldn't touch it now. That tail real? Nah, it doesn't look like it. It'd be better if it was real. Yeah, we need weekly options. But you know what? Whenever you get a climo, it's always because of a culmination of good news. It's like, all right, what can we do to bring out more buyers? And then you get an exhaustion. Just the way it works. I'm still just flabbergasted over the last few months how similar the Qs and spiders trade. And then look at diamonds and IWM. 15-minute charts look pretty darn similar today. It's weird. Using spiders made new lows and bounce. Diamonds, IWM staying strong behind. But they still look higher. Look fantastic. Massey, up alarm. Alex, aren't you glad I told you to add yesterday? You exited? Are you UPS put spread? I don't see this one, so it's just range bound mess after a breakout, and it's still relative weakness, both to the broader markets and the sector. Look at transports moving up. This thing doing nothing. I can find you 10 times better put spread ideas if there's juice. Alpha Lima up alarm there. I mean, that's, we sell put spreads. It's very simple on bullish patterns near and under support. It's that simple. And UPS is a very questionable pattern. I would not call it bullish at all. Nicely, this thing. Search. Yeah, placeholder is fine. Yeah, I kind of like this. This is actually like a 3 bar downside shakeout. And with the 1, 2, 3. Khaki. Did I get a first target on this? Let's sell a third. So was it Philip? I didn't give a target. See, I had no friggin' idea. But I should have given a first target. That was my bad. So let's just sell a third right now if you're in it. I'm not. But we have a $15 gain. It just went up again. We're sitting at 301. Check those two competitors. Uh, Bah Humbug went too. Told you I like that one. And LDOS. See, they all went. I liked them all. I mean, I like Khaki the best, but I said these other two were good too. That would be yeah, I like the 15 breakout too. Yeah, looks good. I would love a 1DT put spread 73, 6 by 28. Crazy. Next week, 35 by 122. Spreads are asinine.
Yeah, and
IWR.
look at Meta. Maybe you could do a call spread 570.
Covered call on my IWR for tomorrow. There's no weeklies. And the monthlies are 5 cents by 220. It's totally ridiculous. Take my money right here. Oh, shoot, it just dropped the bid by a ton. Sold in the right there. I'll reload. I'll pull back. Man, wow, 570 is a little tight for even you, I thought. $5 wide, 45 cents. Let's see if we can get a balance, because if we get stopped out, you're going to be in pain. Now it's only 39 cents. Yeah, Guggenheimer is in some pain. So you know what I was thinking when they're telling them to sell? Oh, Apple hit a brick wall. That's a call spread, but I know he doesn't have any juice. You know, I was thinking when they said that they got to sell Chrome, who's gonna buy it and at what price? because whoever buys it, it's not going to be worth anywhere near what it is to Google, who knows how to operate it. So, that's why, in my opinion, fundamentally, it's hurting the share value. It's like the DOJ telling you to do something with your business that's going to hurt revenue. Let me boy likes this. It's 10:30 reversal. I don't like the spiders cues making new lows, and the others are 15-minute climbers. I just sold my IWM derivative positions in the strength, so I'm chilling here on longs. Sam, I'm got data problems here. MWA. Um, it's not bad, but still up 3 bars in the market just because of the market. That's why I'm not interested. And we also have pretty good long exposure. Still have a massive, just put 2.25 gain in the pocketbook.